Hello, welcome to Esoterica and Nonsense, a podcast where we discuss myths, legends, folk tales, fairy tales, supernatural phenomenon, and religions from around the world. I'm your host, Annabelle, Banana Hell / Pepperbell. It is there's a thunderstorm / little rainstorm happening around. And I'm burning some Palo Santo. And because I'm obsessed with peppers, and I talk about peppers all the time because I live in Pepperworld and I am Pepperbell, we're going to tell some stories about peppers today. First and foremost, I hope that you're taking really good care of yourself. And I hope you're drinking lots of water. Second of all, thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy this podcast, please like and subscribe. Please write a review. Please email in at esotericaandnonsense@gmail.com. Tell me some stories. Did you grow up hearing fairy tales? Do you have some weird dreams you want to tell me about? Some supernatural stuff? We have shirts for sale on my merch link, which is in my bio. And consider joining Patreon. Monthly donations really help me make content. I appreciate you so much. Let's tell some fun little pepper stories, why don't we? I'm really, 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 really excited about these stories because I kind of discovered these on a fluke, and I haven't read them yet, so this is going to be a surprise for me and you. And our first story is called Peppercorn. That's actually what I call peppercorn. And this is an Italian folktale called Peppercorn. Let's dive right in, baby. Once upon a time, there was an old man and an old woman who had no children. And one day, the old woman went into the fields and picked a basket of beans. When she had finished, she looked into the basket and said, "I wish all the beans were children." Scarcely had she uttered those words when a whole crowd of little children sprang out of the basket and danced about her. Such a family seemed too large for the old woman, so she said, "I wish you would all become beans again." Immediately the children climbed back into the basket and became beans again, all except one little boy, whom the old woman took home with her. Stop it, little bean babies. Little babies that were born out of beans. Little beanie babies. This is so fun. Okay, the boy was so small that everybody called him Little Peppercorn. And so good and charming that everybody loved him. Yeah, I love Peppercorn. What a nice boy. He's a bean boy. Peppercorn's a nice bean boy. One day, the old woman was cooking her soup, and little Peppercorn climbed up on the kettle and looked in to see what was cooking. But he slipped, and he fell into the boiling broth and was scalded to death. Oh my God, this took a dark turn in the course of one sentence. Jesus! The old woman did not notice until mealtime that he was missing, and looked in vain for him everywhere to call him to dinner. Ooh, this is bad. This is real bad. At last they sat down to the table without little Peppercorn, and when they poured the soup out of the kettle into the dish, the body of little Peppercorn floated on top. This is fucked up. Who wrote this story? What kind of sicko wrote this? I kind of love it, but I'm just imagining some freaky deaky old grandma telling this to her grandchildren, and the grandchildren being like, Oh my God. Because this is dark, dude. Then the old man and the old woman began to mourn and cry. Dear Peppercorn is dead. Dear Peppercorn is dead. R.I.P. Peppercorn. When the dove heard it, she tore out her feathers and cried, Dear Peppercorn is dead. The old man and the old woman are mourning. When the apple tree saw that the dove tore out her feathers, it asked her why she did so, and when it learned the reason, it shook off all of its apples. In like manner, and well near by poured... In like manner, the nearby well poured out all of its water. The queen's maid broke her pitcher. The queen broke her arm, and the king threw his crown on the ground so that it broke into 1,000 pieces. And when his people asked him what the matter was, he answered, Dear Peppercorn is dead. The old man and the old woman mourn. The dove has torn out her feathers. The apple tree has shaken off all of its apples. The well has poured out all of its water. The maid has broken her pitcher. The queen has broken her arm. And I, the king, have lost my crown because dear Peppercorn is dead. And that's the story of Peppercorn. I feel like we're missing something like big here, you know, like what type of like cultural relevance does pepper or peppercorn have in Italian folktales, or like perhaps that he was born out of a bean. I do know that in some beans in Italy are thought to have like religious importance, at least maybe like quote unquote pagan culture. Some beans were thought to have like medicinal and godly purposes. I'm just kind of like shooting in the dark here, trying to like understand. This is like so dramatic. This was a really short story that turned dark really quick, and it ends with the queen breaking her own arm and the king shattering his crown. If only we lived in a world where people cared that much. Could you imagine if we lived in a world where kings and queens like really just flipped when one cute little baby died? If only. I kind of love this story. Shout out to Peppercorn. We love you, dog. Rest in perfection. Rest in power. We love you, Peppercorn. Okay, let's tell story number 2. Hopefully it's equally as bizarre as our dear Peppercorn. It's honestly so on brand. This is why I love the word pepper. If you want to know why I'm obsessed with the word pepper, it happened randomly. I was in Brazil volunteering on a farm in the middle of nowhere in the state of Goiás. And we spent working on this farm. We spent like maybe 2 or 3 days picking peppers, these little tiny peppers. There were so many fucking peppers. And so by day 3, we were kind of slap happy, and it just became pepper this and pepper that. And my good friend was in a really bad mood because she was dating this idiot and they broke up. And so we were like, you're a sad pepper. And so we sang the sad pepper song. And then, you know, all of a sudden everything became a pepper, you know. That's a handsome pepper. That's a nice little pepper. All of a sudden the dogs on the property become nice peppers. All of a sudden in the morning, you know, you go to the bathroom to take a hot pepper. All of a sudden, pepper becomes the word for everything. And now here we are, still using pepper. And I promise you, now that pepper has entered your life, pepper is going to be everywhere. It's going to blow your mind. You're going to watch TV and someone's last name is going to be Pepper. Or you're going to, I'm telling you, it's going to blow your mind. Peppers are everywhere. And so this story number 2, is called Princess Pepperina. And this is a story from India. I'm very, very excited. A bulbul once lived in a forest. Okay, we're already pausing. I don't know what a bulbul is. Bulbul. What does it mean? Oh, a bulbul is a bird. It is it's often called the red-vented bulbul. And yeah, it's like a cute little bird. It's like a tiny little chunky boy. And it, I don't know what I would compare it to, like a swallow. I don't know. I'm not really good at classifying birds, but it's a small little round boy, super, super cute. A small little chunky round boy. Okay, a bulbul once lived in a forest and sang all day to her mate. Till one morning she said, "Oh, dearest husband, you sing beautifully, but I should so like some nice green pepper to eat." The obedient bulbul at once flew off to find some, but though he flew for miles, peeping into every garden by the way, he could not discover a single green pepper. Either there was no fruit at all on the bushes, but only tiny white star flowers, or the peppers were all ripe and crimson red. At last, right out in the wilderness, he came upon a high-walled garden. Tall mango trees shaded it on all sides, shutting out fierce sunshine and rough winds, and within grew innumerable flowers and fruits. But there was no sign of life within its walls, no birds, no butterflies, only silence and a perfume of flowers. This sounds a little bit like an enchanted garden, methinks. The bulbul alighted in the middle of the garden, and lo, there grew a solitary pepper plant, and amid the polished leaves shone a single green fruit of immense size, gleaming like an emerald. Ooh, an emerald pepper! Oh my God, that's beautiful! Greatly delighted, the bird flew home to his mate, and telling her he had found the most beautiful green pepper in the world, brought her back with him to the garden, where she at once began to eat the delicious morsel. Now, the jinn to whom the garden belonged, I told you it was an enchanted garden. I could smell it. This is safety 101. If you're anywhere in the world and or nature, and there's no animals, like no birds, no bugs, no creatures, and it's silent, red flag. That's like the biggest red flag in the book. It means it's something dangerous is afoot. Or maybe you're the danger. Now, the jinn to whom the garden belonged had all this time been asleep in a summer house, and as he generally kept awake for 12 whole years and then slept for another 12 years, he was, of course, very sound asleep and knew nothing of the bulbul's coming and going. Nevertheless, as the time of his awakening was not far off, he had dreadful nightmares whilst the green pepper was being picked to pieces, and, becoming restless, he awoke just when the bulbul's wife, after laying one glittering emerald green egg beneath the pepper plant, flew away with her husband. Oh no, they fucked up. They ate the green pepper and they laid an emerald green egg underneath the pepper plant. It's a pepper egg. They ate a pepper and they had a pepper egg, and now the jinn is going to find it and he's going to be pissed. This is a huge mistake. As usual, the jinn, after yawning and stretching, went to see how his pet pepper was getting on. Great was his sorrow and rage at finding it pecked to pieces. He could not imagine what had done the mischief, knowing as he did that neither bird, beast, nor insect lived in the garden. Some dreadful, creeping thing from that horrid world outside must have broken in whilst I slept, said the jinn to himself, and immediately began to search for the intruder. He found nothing, however, but the glittering green egg, with which he was so much astonished that he took it to his summer house, wrapped it up in cotton wool, and put it away carefully in a carved niche in the wall. Every day he went and looked at it, sighing over the thought of his lost Pepper, until one morning, lo and behold, the egg had disappeared, and in its place sat the loveliest little maiden, dressed from head to foot in emerald green, while round her neck hung a single emerald of great size, shaped just like the green pepper. Oh my God, it's the Pepper Princess. Are you kidding me? Could you imagine a necklace with a single emerald shaped like a magical green pepper? Oh, this is literally my dream come true. This is the Pepper Princess, and she was born from little bulbuls who laid her in an emerald egg under an enchanted pepper plant, and the pepper plant was the pepper pet of a jinn. This is so fun. I almost feel like I wrote this in a past life, because this is just bananas, dude. This is so good. Okay, the jinn who was quiet. The jinn, who was a quiet and inoffensive creature, whatever that means, was delighted, for he loved children, and this one was the daintiest little morsel he ever beheld. Does that mean he likes eating children? I'm confused. So he made it the business of his life to tend Princess Pepperina, for such the maiden informed him was her name. Oh my God. This is a dream come true. Now, when 12 years had passed by in the flowery garden, it became time for the good-natured jinn to go to sleep again, and it puzzled him very much to think what would become of his princess when he was no longer able to take care of her. But it so happened that a great king and his minister, while hunting in the forest, came upon the high-walled garden, and, being curious to see what was inside, they climbed over the wall and found the lovely Princess Pepperina seated by the pepper plant. Oh my God, I'm gonna freak out. This is so good. Naturally, as we all saw coming, the king immediately fell in love with Princess Pepperina, because she is everything, and in the most elegant language begged her to be his wife. But the princess hung down her head modestly, saying, "Not so. You must ask the jinn who owns this garden. Only he has an unfortunate habit of eating men sometimes. Sorry, you're going to have to ask my guardian, but sometimes he eats people." Nevertheless, when she saw the young king kneeling before her, she could not help thinking him the handsomest and most splendid young man in the world. I mean, she's never seen a single man in her life, so just saying. Her heart softened, and when she heard the jinn's footsteps, she cried, "Hide yourself in the garden, and I will see if I can persuade my guardian to listen to you." No sooner had the jinn appeared than he began to sniff about and cry, "Fee, fa, fum, I smell the blood of a man." Then the Princess Pepperina soothed him, saying, "Dear jinn, you may eat me if you like, for there is no one else here." And then the jinn replied, kissing and caressing her the while, "My dearest life, I would sooner eat bricks and mortar." After that, the princess cunningly led the conversation to the jinn's approaching slumbers and wondered tearfully what she should do alone in the walled garden. At this, the good-hearted jinn became greatly troubled, until at last he declared that the best plan would be to marry her to some young nobleman. But, he added, a worthy husband was hard to find, especially as it was necessary he should be as handsome as a man, as Princess Pepperina was beautiful amongst women. Hearing this, the princess seized her opportunity and asked the jinn if he would promise to let her marry anyone who was as beautiful as she was. The jinn promised faithfully, little thinking the princess already had her eye on such a one, and was immensely astonished when she clapped her hands and the splendid young king appeared from a thicket. Nevertheless, when the young couple stood together, hand in hand, even the jinn was obliged to own that such a handsome pair had never before been seen. So he gave his consent to their marriage, which was performed in ever so great a hurry, for already the jinn had begun to nod and yawn. Still, when it came to saying goodbye to his dear little princess, he wept so much that the tears kept him awake. Oh, he loves the little Princess Pepperina. The jinn followed her in his thoughts until the desire to see her face once more became so strong that he changed himself into a dove, which flying after her fluttered above her head. She seemed quite happy, talking and whispering to her handsome husband, so he flew home again to sleep. But the green mantle of his dear little Princess Pepperina kept floating before his eyes, so that he could not rest, and changing himself into a hawk, he sped after her, circling far above her head. She was smiling by her husband's side, so the jinn flew home to his garden, yawning terribly. But the soft eyes of his dear little Pepperina seemed to look into his, driving sleep far from them. So he changed into an eagle, and soaring far above into the blue sky, saw with his bright piercing gaze the princess entering a king's palace far away on the horizon. Then the good jinn was satisfied and fell fast asleep. Now, during the years which followed, the young king remained passionately in love with his beautiful bride. But the other women in the palace were very jealous of her, especially after she gave birth to the most lovely young prince imaginable. Yeah, because he was a pepper prince. Hello. They determined to compass her ruin and spent hours in thinking how they might kill her or lay a snare for her. Damn, what a bummer. Like, y'all can't even celebrate Princess Pepperina? Why y'all gotta hate on my girl? She's just a little green pepper emerald girl. Sorry. Every night they would come to the door of the queen's room and whisper to see if she was awake. The Princess Pepperina is awake, but all the world is fast asleep. Now, the emerald which the young queen still wore round her neck was a real talisman and always told the truth. If anyone ever whispered a story, it just up and out with the truth at once and shamed the culprit without remorse. Oh wow, okay, so this green pepper is an instrument of truth. I love that. See, peppers be as peppers do. I think that's how the saying goes. So, the emerald on these occasions would answer, "Not so," and the Princess Pepperina is asleep. It is the world that wakes. Oh shit, so now these girls are using her pepper talisman to see if she's awake or not. Damn it, that's fucked. Then the wicked women would shrink away, for they knew they had no power to harm the princess while the talisman was round her neck. At last, It so happened that when the young queen was bathing, she took off the emerald pepper talisman and left it by mistake in the bathing place. Damn it! So that night, when the jealous women, as usual, came whispering round the door, the Princess Pepperina is awake, but all the world sleeps. The truthful talisman called out from the bathing place, "Not so! The Princess Pepperina sleeps. It is the world that wakes." Knowing by the sound of the talisman's voice that it was not in its usual place, these wicked creatures stole into the room gently, killed the infant prince who was peacefully sleeping in his little crib, and cut him into little bits and laid them on his mother's bed and gently stained her lips with the blood. What the fuck? These women are sickos, dude. Both of these Pepper stories have taken dark turns, like real quickly. You have to be hella hateful to kill an infant, cut the baby into bits, lay them on its mother's bed and stain her lips with the blood. You're fucking sick. These women need therapy, like years of therapy. Who hurt these women? Jesus. Early the next morning, they flew to the king, weeping and wailing, bidding him come and see the horrible sight. "Look," said they, "the beautiful wife you loved so much is an ogress. We warned you against her, and now she has killed her child in order to eat its flesh." The king was terribly grieved and wroth, for he loved his wife, and yet could not deny she was an ogress. So he ordered her to be whipped out of his kingdom and then slain. Wow, you're really going to trust these ladies over your own shorty? This is so despicable. I'm despict. This is so lame. Fuck these girls, dude. They're hella mean. So the lovely, tender, fair young queen was scourged out of the land and then cruelly murdered, whilst the wicked, jealous women rejoiced at their evil success. Where's the talisman? Like, why hasn't she gotten up and gotten the pepper talisman so the pepper talisman could let everyone know what happened? Like, this is crazy right now. I'm upset. But when the Princess Pepperina died, her body became a high, white marble wall. Her eyes turned into liquid pools of water. Her green mantle changed into stretches of verdant grass. Her long curly hair into lovely creepers and tendrils, while her scarlet mouth and white teeth became a beautiful bed of roses and narcissus. Then her soul took the form of a sheldrake and its mate. Those loving birds which, like the turtle dove, are always constant and floating on the liquid pools, they mourned all day long in the sad fate of the Princess Pepperina. Oh, this is so romantic. I love Princess Pepperina. What a nice pepper she is. Now, after many days, the young king, who, despite her supposed crime, could not help bewailing his beautiful bride, went out a-hunting, and finding no game, wandered far afield until he came to the high white marble wall. Curious to see what it enclosed, he climbed over onto the verdant grass where the tendrils waved softly, the roses and narcissus blossomed, and the loving birds floated on the liquid pools, mourning all day long. The king, weary and sad, lay down to rest in the lovely spot and listened to the cry of the birds. And as he listened, the meaning seemed to grow plain, so that he heard them tell the whole story of the wicked women's treachery. Yes, justice for Pepperina, my pepper queen. Then the one bird said, weeping to the other, "Can she never become alive again?" And the other answered, "If the king were to catch us and hold us close, heart to heart, while he severed our heads from our bodies with the blow of his sword, so that neither of us should die before the other, the Princess Pepperina would become alive once more. But if one dies before the other, she will always remain as she is." Wow, just like a casual blood magic ritual. No big deal. You have to catch two birds and hold them heart to heart and behead them instantaneously. That's blood magic, dude. But you know what? For my Princess Pepperina, I mean, also these birds are like made out of her soul. I guess I'm with it. This is just intense, dude. Everything you could ever want is in this story. There's birds laying emerald green eggs. There's jinn. There's a pepper princess with an emerald pepper necklace. Blood magic. Like, what else could you want? Tell me. Nothing. I answered for you. Nothing. This is checking every single fucking box. Then the king, with a beating heart, called the birds to him, and they came quite readily, standing heart to heart, while he cut off their heads with one blow of his sword, so that they fell dead at the self-same moment. At that very same instant, the Princess Pepperina appeared, smiling, more beautiful than ever. But, strange to say, the liquid pools, the grass, the climbing tendrils, and the flowers remained as they were. Yeah, because she's a magical pepper. She's literally pure magic. There's this beautiful enchanted secret garden now. Like, I'm obsessed with the Princess Pepperina. She is my queen. Then the king besought her to return home with him, vowing he would never again distrust her, and would put all the wicked traitors to death. But she refused, saying she would prefer to live always within the high white marble walls, where no one could disturb her. "Just so," cried the jinn, who, having but that moment awakened from his 12-year sleep, had flown straight to his dearest princess. "Here you shall live, and I will live with you." Then he built the king and queen a magnificent palace where they lived very happily ever after. And as no one knew anything about it, no one was jealous of the beautiful Princess Pepperina. Aww, Pepperina. She is so nice. I love Pepperina. I'm literally obsessed with Pepperina. What a nice girl. I'm just, out of pure curiosity, want to learn more about peppers. Like what is it about peppers? They are so powerful. Okay, so I just found this random website, and the title is Hot Chili Pepper, Spiritual Meaning. Let's read what they have to say. Hot chili peppers are more than just tantalizing elements in our cuisine. They're imbued with profound spiritual meaning and ancestral wisdom. Hot chili peppers symbolize passion and intensity, representing a fiery spirit and the audacity to take on life's challenges head on. Their intense heat serves as a reminder of the vigor and determination needed to live with passion and to make the most out of life. Just as the spice of a chili can immediately transform a dish, the spiritual meaning encourages individuals to infuse their lives with enthusiasm and fervor. The vibrant red color of hot chili peppers further symbolizes power, desire, and strength, reinforcing the values of courage, persistence, and the willingness to embrace life with all its intensity. Okay, I mean, I'm not mad at that, but I guess it doesn't really give us like I want something more concrete. I want to hear more. Peppers. Have you ever had like a dream about a pepper? I haven't, but I would love to have a dream about a pepper. I'm just so inspired by peppers. Peppers, please. Do you have a story about a pepper? Because I would love to hear. Well, that was just a short little diddly for you. I hope you're having a beautiful day, and I hope you're inspired by Peppercorn and little Princess Pepperina. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope that you have the best day and the best life. Over and out, baby.